We both run up, give a good hug, good hard squeeze. It's there, you know, you can feel it.
Randy Flanker is alive today thanks to a complete stranger turned family. A life-saving donation from halfway around the world. Good morning, I'm Jessica Lovell, and welcome to the Morning Medical Update. Randy Flanker was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. It is a fast-growing cancer that affects the bone marrow and blood. But Randy had a little luck and a little bit of Chiefs Kingdom support on his side. Randy Flanker has always considered himself lucky.
In '96, I won $100,000 in lottery.
But when he was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia,
It just was like a shock.
Randy wondered if his luck had run out.
I was told only 20% of the people ever lived through this. And my first thing was, what makes you think I won't be one of the 20%?
Rounds of chemo treatment about did him in.
I lost all my teeth, and I had a terrible rash on my skin.
The team at the University of Kansas Cancer Center told Randy that he would need a transplant. Someone to donate their bone marrow to save his life. But who? Just like that, Randy's luck had returned. Meet Oliver Breiger from Saarbrücken, Germany. 5 years ago, Oliver, or Ollie, swabbed his cheek and entered the Worldwide Bone Marrow Donation Registry, Be the Match. Turns out Ollie was Randy's match.
Now we're blood brothers because now I'm his blood type.
Ollie traveled across the Atlantic to meet his blood brother. He wanted to meet the man he saved.
Because you did such a huge deal for somebody else that you would really like to see what their life is like.
Donor and recipient turned family.
I don't have a lot of family. My friends are my family. So I adopt family. This is the same. My brothers are not related to me at all. And this is another brother, like that.
Their bond goes beyond an immune system. They also both share a serious love of the Kansas City Chiefs, a team Ollie had long cheered on before Randy ever entered the picture. It was fate.
Since 2015, I became a Chiefs fan. Since then, I just started watching the NFL, and you have to pick a team. And for some reason, I went with the Chiefs.
Friends, family, and Chiefs fans for life. And we are so happy to have everyone back with us this morning. Randy is joining us here in studio along with his hematologist and oncologist, Dr. Anurag Singh. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Also joining us virtually from Germany, Randy's donor, Ollie Breiger. What time is it there?
Hello, it's 3 p.m. right now.
Well, thank you. And I think you're in the middle of your workday, so thanks for taking our call and being a part of our story today. It's just cool to have someone on the other part of the world joining us. So, Randy, first and foremost, how are you feeling today?
Good.
Physically?
Good. I mean, yeah, well, I got a little bronchitis, but hey, everybody gets sick every once in a while. But no, I'm doing fine like that. I do what I want to do like that. So I mean, I'm never going to be 100% like I was, you know, because, you know, I'm old now. I'm 69 years old. Shit. So,
right.
You know, what can I do, you know?
Well, how long has it been since your bone marrow transplant?
5 years.
5 years.
Yes, it was 5 years. March 20th is when I got my bone marrow.
A day you will always remember, but let's go back before the transplant, because you mentioned chemo, very tough for you. What was your day-to-day life like during those treatments?
When most of my chemo was done at St. Luke's when they first diagnosed me, because I was north of the river and went through that. And then once it was rough, because I went through like 4 different chemos, and that didn't work. It didn't work. It from a very high amount, somewhere in the 60s or 70s, down to the closest they got was between 38 and 46% of blasts, so it wasn't working. They actually were kind of hinting to my wife that I would make it out of the hospital.
So is that pretty typical, Dr. Singh? I mean, to have to go through all of these rounds before we finally get to the transplant?
Yes, so patients with acute myeloid leukemia, when they're diagnosed, they're often very sick, and you know, a lot of leukemia burden, and so one needs to lower the burden of that leukemia before they be ready for transplant. So often they need a lot of chemotherapy and different rounds, different recipes of chemo. Now with Randy, he had at least 2 rounds of traditional chemotherapy, but then they were managed to find a targeted drug for him, which worked for a particular mutation that his leukemia cells had, and so he got that, and that really worked for him and got him in a better shape for transplant.
So tell us, was this part of a trial, or?
No, so this particular drug was just recently approved, and so was the market. And when he went to transplant, he did go on transplant on a trial, but that particular drug was already approved just recently.
And I know that, Randy, you consider yourself very lucky, and this was another piece of your luck you kind of put into the
it had only been out 6 months.
Yeah.
And, during the time when I went through the I lost 56 pounds in 3 weeks. I mean, it devastated me, took muscle, everything like that. And then once I got this drug, and it was like within less than a week, no more blood, no more transfusions, no more blood. My blast dropped down to below 3%. And it was just like, okay, it was a miracle. If I'd have got sick a year earlier, I would have died. So there's the luck.
So what was going through your mind when you heard that you finally found the right donor?
It was, well, of one, I didn't know who it was because they won't let us know for 2 years. It was just like somebody from Germany. Well, I'm 90% German, so it had to come from there someplace,
So it all kind of made sense in your head.
Yeah, it made total sense. And then when we found out he's athletic, he's a kickboxer, he was a kickboxer instructor, he's intelligent, which I'm fair but not great like him, like that. I'm more logical, straight line, and he can think outside the box.
So you were happy to have a little bit of Ollie inside there.
Oh, 100%. He improved me. That's my opinion too.
That's such a great way to
I
say
showed
it.
him other things how to do, which
We're going to
more
talk
physical.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
going to talk about that because you guys have shared a lot.
Yes.
But I want to bring in this healthy donor of yours, Ollie. I'd say good afternoon, I guess, to you, and so glad you're with us. We want to point out again, you're 7 hours ahead of us, but you actually, let's talk about something very important, the Chiefs. You had to stay up. I guess you had to stay up late to watch the Super Bowl. Did you have some sort of like one-man Super Bowl party? Were you surrounded by a bunch of other German Chiefs fans, or was it just you?
No, I had many friends over actually, but I told them they should take a picture of me so I can send Randy the picture, since he actually got me the Mahomes jersey, and I want to show him I actually wear it. I'm going to support them the whole way, and and actually the Super Bowl is quite popular in Germany as well, at least in my social circle, and so yeah, we watch it together.
Loud and proud, wearing the Mahomes jersey. We love to see that. Good representation there in Germany. So I want to talk about this donation because you signed up to be a bone marrow donor 5 years ago. What made you sign up?
So very short answer would be peer pressure, so to say, because they had a promotional booth at our university, and you could sign up very easily. It's just swap in and fill out one paper, and then everything is done. All my friends did it, and of course I went there as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much anything. I didn't think too much about it because I thought if it comes to it, I probably would do it, but let's see.
So that peer pressure then led to the news finally that you were someone's match. What did you think when you heard that?
So it's kind of hard to grasp the thought I had, but I still remember very vividly that I felt very excited. You open the mail you get, and you see that you can become a good donor for somebody. And I still remember I directly went to my doctor and took the blood sample that we should take because they have to do some finer analysis of my blood, it seems. So I was very excited, and my thought probably was like, oh, cool, I get to do this.
Yeah, cool. That's a good way of putting it. So what was the donation process like for you? What did they do? What did it feel like?
So the donation process itself, it was all very rushed since Randy had another donor that was supposed to donate for him. And since he, for some reason, couldn't in the end, I needed to go there very fast. And, there are 2 routes to go to do the donation. I had to do the fast one under anesthesia. And the road to the clinic and everything, I was a little bit excited, but everybody was so nice, because you can imagine they do nothing else than this at this clinic, and you have all the people that just freely want to help somebody. So the all in all mood over there is very wholesome, you could say, and the doctors love to work there. It's really awesome. And the donation process itself, it was really well looked over by the doctors, and I felt safe in every step. It was exhausting in the end after the donation. The first day I felt really, really weak, but I got better quite fast.
So Dr. Singh, how often are matches found in other countries?
Yeah, so the International Bone Marrow Registry has almost 41 million donors, and so for Americans, most of the donors are found in the United States itself, but depending on the ethnicity, a fair number of our donations do come from Europe.
So how do you get that donation all the way across the pond?
Yes, so there's an organization, National Marrow Donor Program, which coordinates this whole process, and they have a dedicated courier who collects, the bone marrow or stem cell sample from wherever it is collected from. So it is collected, in a hospital, let's say in Germany, and then a person, takes it, brings it personally all the way to Kansas City, and then hands it over to our team, and which then proceed with the infusion.
What's the time frame of that? By the time it comes out of Ali and gets to Randy?
Yeah, so we try to make sure that there is as minimum time between collection, because with some of the cells, even though they are put in the freezer, but some you do lose some cells during transportation. So we want to make sure that there is a minimum time between. So, but again, there is a flight, and you have to often take more than one flight. So we try to make sure that within 24 hours of collection, the cells are infused.
Precious cargo.
Yes,
coming our way. All right, so be sure to ask your questions. You can use the chat on YouTube or Facebook. We are on the X platform, or you can email the Medical News Network. That information is right there on your screen. So right after someone gets this bone marrow or stem cell transplant, there's always kind of this critical time where their immune system has to rebuild itself. Patients stay in the hospital for weeks and sometimes months. Randy, how long were you here before you could finally go home? And I understand your family was very, very particular about making sure people stayed healthy around you.
Oh yeah. What happened is, I got the transplant came. It was a huge amount. The nurse said they'd never seen this much before. It was a huge amount of bone marrow material. I got it. Then we went through a little bit of chemo to stabilize me and things like that. And actually, I was told that usually 30 days is what you spend in the hospital from after that. They started getting me ready to go home in 16. It hit and worked that well. I left in 20 days. It was a perfect match.
What do you make of that,
way.
Dr. Singh? Is that pretty unusual?
It is, so again, everyone is different,
Yeah.
but yeah, he had good count, he got good amount of cells, good cells, so he had count recovery on time, and many of our patients actually, are able to go somewhere between, 2.5 to 3.5 weeks.
So Ali, as we saw in this story, you were able to come here to Kansas City. You visited our Westwood clinic. You met the staff over there. Why did you and Randy want to meet there?
So for me, definitely, I see that this bone marrow network is an international network, and it would be very beneficial towards everybody to meet the people that are actually involved in different countries. You see, I mean, it's very important that you have this international network. The more people are registered, the higher the probability is that you get a donor. So yeah, and I thought it would be very nice to see the other end as well. I thought maybe I might meet the doctors, which have not come into contact with other people from other countries yet that donated, and I thought it would be a very nice experience for them and for me. So this is why.
For sure. It was this full circle moment. And then, of course, the big fun, the American style fun came, and Randy got to take you out and about. What was the one thing you said you wanted to do when you got here?
Oh, so the one thing that we definitely want to do was go to the shooting range. For us Germans, it's like we have only seen maybe a gun in a holster or in movies. So really trying it out, it was the first for me and for my colleague Dennis, who was with us. Yeah, this was the one thing we really wanted to do, since we knew pretty much this wouldn't become a regular thing in Germany, and this would be a real American experience.
It certainly is. And for those who don't know, Randy is a big archery expert, and so he gave you a gift. Tell us about that.
Yes. Yeah, he actually gave me a bow. When I was there, you know, Randy and I, we are both people that like to compete with others. And so we wanted to find something we could compete a little bit against. Of course, Randy is still way ahead of me in every regard. But he gave me a bow, said, now you can learn at home. And when I visit him the next time, I'm trying to whoop his buttocks when I get there with the bow.
His buttocks. Okay, so he's going to whoop your buttocks. So tell me about how great this was, because you said you had Ollie gave you so much, but you wanted to give him back.
Definitely. When he came, they were looking forward to the American experience. And of course, you know, I volunteer for the conservation department. I teach safety, things like that, introduce people to safe practices with firearms and archery equipment. And that was something for me to be able to give them the proper experience. And what he shot were the guns that I made. Everything that he shot, I made. So it was, I come from a family of tool and die makers and things like that. And like my dad called it, an affliction, I've got to make everything I do. So.
And you're very competitive, I know.
Very.
Very.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, yeah.
It was a good time.
I competed in archery tournaments for years. And then when we go to shoot, it's like, okay, my son and I set up, we put little dots out, and you miss a dot, you lose a point. We can compete all the time.
Can I bring up the photos that me and my kids, because you actually
sure.
you taught my son Dominic and my daughter Sunny how to not just shoot, but I really love the fact that you were out there really teaching them how to be safe and respect a weapon that could injure somebody.
Yeah, they're tools. It's no different than, to me, it's no different than a chainsaw or a hammer or anything. You can hurt yourself with anything like that. They're dangerous. That way, so you respect them. Respect is everything when it comes down to certain, things. It's not the cowboy deals of the gangster stuff. That's ridiculous. That's nothing that I would ever teach anybody.
Yeah, no, my kids were hanging on your every word, and so I appreciated you spending some time with them.
Yeah, they were. Dominic was a card. Well, what I liked is the interaction between your daughter and Dominic when they found the case, and they had the argument on that.
They were finding gun shooting cases, and
they're making whistles out of them. And then when they got me, it was total brother and sister
fighting over it.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of like an Ollie.
Hilarious.
It was an Ollie moment. I mean, my kids had not ever seen a casing before, so they were like, "What is this? This is so cool. I guess we'll use it as a whistle." Let's talk about barbecue. Where'd you take it for barbecue?
Oh, actually, we brought barbecue home from. Oh, damn it. What the hell's the name of the place? It's
oh well. What did you think, Ollie? Was it what you had always heard Kansas City barbecue to be?
So I had to make the comparison between the Texan barbecue and the Kansas City barbecue, since I was in Texas before, and I actually totally liked it. So whatever Randy put on the table, we ate as much as we could. It was really really
we
nice.
had ribs, pulled pork, burnt ends, cheesy corn, you name it, it was there.
So,
and the other was, we took them to the Jazz.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta have Cajun.
Yeah, right next door.
You gotta have
Good
Cajun.
stuff. You gave him the true experience, and you call him now your blood brother. What is his donation really mean to you?
Life. Without him, I'm not here.
Love it.
That's just the way, I mean, you know, like that. I owe him, no, it's not so much an owe, it's an appreciation of his gift. I would do anything for him.
So if you'd like to do what Ali did, which is save a life, you can go to bethematch.org and they'll send you that swab. All you have to do is, again, swab your cheek. It's super easy, and then hopefully you get the call to duty one day. How often, Dr. Singh, do patients find their match on the registry versus finding it from a friend or a family member?
Sure. So the way that, so you know, we all have our unique HLA type, or which is the molecules which are identifiers by which we, you know, self or the other. So the way the genetics of this works, the best chance of a full match is with a sibling, but they have a 25% chance. So a brother or full brother or sister has a 25% chance of being a match. Children would be half match because they get half of their DNA from one parent, half from another. So for a family member, you know, it's a 25% chance of being a full match, but with an unrelated donor, and again, you know, it depends also on the ethnicity. So for example, for Caucasians, there is a 75 to 80% chance of finding a full match with the unrelated donor registry. But that number is not great for ethnic minorities like African Americans and Mexican and Asians. So definitely, you know, we need more people on the registry. We need young men like Ollie to, and this is the, you know, easiest way you can save someone's life.
Again, bethematch.org, and they'll send you the kit. You swab, you put it back in the envelope, and you mail it. It couldn't be easier. Let's get to some questions from our viewers this morning. And Joellen wants to know, what's the probability that Ollie would be a match again?
Yeah, so generally, for those who are, again, you know, are on the registry, you know, they have like 1 in 400 chance of being selected as a donor. So I would say that probably the same chance. Do you have some long lost brother?
No, I'm the last. I'm the last of my family.
Yeah. So you know, it's the chance of being selected for donation is 1 in 400.
So Joellen's asking, would you donate again?
100%. So you rarely get the opportunity in life to do something that's not so huge of a deal for you, but for next to everybody else involved in this field. So, yeah, of course.
Jeremy writes in, I mostly associate bone marrow transplant with leukemia. Are there other different types of cancers or health issues that bone marrow transplants are helpful for?
Absolutely, yeah. So we use transplants for many cancer as well as non-cancerous conditions. So many cancers than leukemia, like some lymphomas and myelodysplastic syndrome, and non-cancer conditions. We've been, you know, like bone marrow failures and so many inherited conditions which are not cancer, but they involve the bone marrow, and a transplant is life-saving. And I would also add disease like sickle cell anemia, for which transplant can be a potential cure.
Stu is asking, after a transplant, does every patient experience some type of graft versus host disease?
Yes. So yes, I would say it depends on the donor and you know, patient and what kind of chemotherapy they have received. But you know, almost 50% patients will have some degree of graft versus host disease, but it's not all or none. So it's not like, you know, those who get it will get bad graft versus host disease. Minority of the patients who do get graft versus host disease can have bad graft versus host disease, but many have some which can be easily treated.
Randy, did you have it?
Oh yeah, yeah. And we went through about a year or a year and a half of a drug to keep mine under control because it made me swell and things like that. And once it with what he prescribed and everything, it worked. We got off of it, and I haven't had. I'll always have some, is what I understand. It's good that I have some because it keeps the leukemia in check. So it's just what it is, like that. And he took care. The doctor took care of it. He took care of me right, like that. So I appreciate that too. I have to cook him something else to make.
You have to make him, bring him something.
Yeah.
I know, you like to do that. I want to get our takeaways as we wrap up, and I'm going to start with Ollie in Germany this morning, because I know you got to get back to work. We've caught you right in the middle of your work day. So, Ollie, what's the big takeaway from your story?
So the big takeaway would be for me, if you consider being a bone marrow donor, just do it. I mean, register, see what happens. I mean, for everybody that I talked to in the clinic about this topic, they said pretty much the same thing. When they get this mail that they might be a donor, everybody was just happy and fulfilled to do something for somebody else. And if you are looking for a similar feeling or experience, register.
Dr. Singh, what is the big takeaway today?
So the big takeaway is, transplant, as we've seen, can provide a potential cure for many such aggressive diseases. Number two, we ask young men to get on the registry, and that way you can save someone's life. Second thing is, in more recent years, match being a match is important, but there are many other things, and you don't even need to be a perfect match to be a donor. So definitely encourage people to get on the registry, and they can save someone's life.
Randy, what's the takeaway from your story?
Life. Without Oliver, I wouldn't be here. My wife, we would, that was my hardest thing, is watching her have to go through this. I'm stubborn, so I wasn't giving up. And I did, but at the same time, it's hard for me to see her hurt like that. And with what Oliver did, that blessed her too.
Well, she's been a great support.
I would add, even, throughout all this, she has been on his side. And again, cancer does not just affect an individual, it affects the family around. And she's been through this, and she's, he won't be here without her support.
She's stuck with him a little longer.
Oh my God, yeah. It's just like, she's a Texas girl. So, she's going to have an opinion. Whether I like it or not, it doesn't matter. She has a good opinion, and she's a strength to me.
That's another good match for you.
Yes.
Love to hear that.
Yes.
Thank you to all of our guests today. Thanks to our viewers for being with us. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Join us tonight at Kauffman Stadium for our next Royals Health Awareness Night. Tonight, we highlight brain health, research and treatments for everything from migraine to memory to movement disorders. Stop by Gate A before the game to grab some free Royals swag, meet expert neurologists, and enter for a chance to win a Royals gift card. We'll see you at the K.
Coming up Monday on the Morning Medical Update. Men and women are supposed to be equal, but in medicine, the female body remains understudied. I'm Jessica Lovell on the next Morning Medical Update. How a person's sex impacts their skeleton, their heart, their immune system, and more. Meet a leading researcher and hear what women in the community expect from their health care. Monday at 8.
Subscribe to our Morning Medical Update and Open Mics with Dr. Stites podcast. Now, everywhere podcasts are available.